I'm ready now. This presentation is going to be in English. How to speak English. We're going to talk about what I exactly did in a moment. But I want to tell you this. The thing that you're going to understand is, you're going to ask yourself, how far are you willing to go to please an audience? How far do you want to go out of your comfort zone to show people your kind of how much you give into whatever you're doing? So if you're making a presentation and want to necessarily get that message out, if you have to, you have to like scream if you want to say something, or maybe you should start saying it in the presentation because no one does that. Or maybe, I don't know, whatever, like if I want to do something now, you can just come here and like do this. Just stay here like for a second. I'll do this because I want to show you that there's no comfort here. Okay, so Stanislavski will tell you, an actor prepares, you can't have so much comfort because you got to have a balance between comfort and the energy you get from nervousness. But I'm going to tell you the opposite. I'm going to tell you that there's no comfort here. The comfort is yours, it's mine to give it to you by taking it away from me. And so this presentation is about that. How to make people laugh, how to get arrested and go to a psychiatric ward, how to, in other words, how to make a presentation and incorporate humor into this presentation. Now I'm going to be serious about this presentation. This was just a joke. I was getting myself mentally ready to do whatever I'm supposed to do, but I'm going to go from theory, philosophy, to practice, to what I'm doing, to what people are doing, different techniques, different examples. I want to make this very practical for you. Okay? And this is what I want to tell you. Now I want to begin because it's going to be a little longer, a couple of minutes longer. I want to go with, first of all, what's the point of incorporating humor in any kind of public speech? And I'm going to answer this question by telling you my story. You know, most of you know me, about 2-3 people that don't know me. So I've been doing stand-up comedy for quite some time. Okay, and the thing is, if you want to prepare like a bit of material for stand-up, you want to make sure that it's a good material, you have to work on it by testing it on people constantly, okay? You got to be able to test this material on people, and unfortunately in Bulgaria, because there are only a few people who do that, it's either I have to organize something for myself, or I have to rely on people asking me to come over. So for the last couple of years, what I've been doing is, I've been using every opportunity I have to speak in front of people to actually practice my material and test my jokes, right? Maybe not like necessarily a given joke, but practice my comedy, right? And I noticed that not only this improved my comedy, but on top of that, this actually improved the presentation. And people were talking to me about, no, I like this presentation. I remember I mean, they were talking about the content of the presentation, which was surprising for me because of the amount of effort I put into the presentation, the amount of effort I put into the comedy in the presentation. But I realized that there is a potential, especially in business presentations, in like scientific presentations, whatever, because of the idea of contrast between your expectations and the reality. If you're funny and no one expects you to be funny, it's in front of you. I'm going to talk about this later, but I want to show you this guy. Now, I know what you're thinking. This must be Nick Schopf's grandfather. This guy actually is Marcus Tullius Cicero, and this guy was the Roman dude from the 1st century before Christ. This guy was a philosopher. I'm going to send him the clip. So anyway, this guy came up with something that is now being referred to as the 3 rules of rhetorics, and those are docere, movere, and delectare, which in Latin, of course, that means penis, vagina, and testicles. It means teach, move, and delight. Okay, and now those were very popular back in the day, but they got extremely popular in the Renaissance when in Europe most of the artists assumed those to be like their motto. That they thought, okay, if I can teach, emotionally move, and delight people with my work, I mean, my work is done here. That's the point of what I'm doing. I really like this. Okay, it took him some time, but this is the vagina or the testicle. Anyway, so I'm getting to the point where I really like this thing. If I'm ever going to make a tattoo, it's going to be probably this words. I mean, even the thighs are going to be like Rihanna, like you know, like docere, movere, and delectare. So the point is, if we have to incorporate this in a presentation, what you do is, okay, teach. First of all, teach the first part. I'm assuming that you're all intelligent people, and you can come up with the material, with the things that you want, with the message that you want to send to people, right? So you can come up with this thing, you know, you read a book, I don't know, you copy and paste from Wikipedia or whatever, I don't care. I'm not going to talk about this. Then you got the move part. Now the move part is both in the physical way, by just moving something, by taking a person with your presentation and making them do something, by the message that you're sending, but more importantly, it's about the emotional way of moving. Something like Ellie did, which is something very personal and sharing stuff, right? So obviously I can't teach you about this either, because if it's not genuine, it shouldn't be done. It would be just lying, and I would be teaching you how to fake stuff, which is exactly what I'm going to teach you, but with the last part. And the last part is delight. And I like that translation. This is the translation you're going to see in a Latin dictionary. But I prefer to modernize it and call this entertain, okay? And what better way to entertain people than by comedy? You know, I'm not going to talk about the brain and endorphins and how that makes you feel good, but I'm going to say this, that this is a medium that helps you get the message through, okay? It's not something like people think it's a buzz, it's noise, it's actually getting in the way of the message. No, it's getting attention, then it's creating a connection on an emotional level with people. You're getting their sympathy, and at the end you're getting the message. So, you know, your mission is done. Now, what is humor? I'm going to touch on this very briefly. There are so many definitions, and there's one that I like in particular, and that is humor, as I said, it's a logical construct that's based on the contrast between reality and expectations. Or, in other words, this is the principle, I need to do something here. This is the principle of surprise. And, yeah, and I want to show you something here. This is what a surprise is. Okay, now that was surprise, and I love this movie. This is a great movie if you haven't seen it. So, obviously we can talk about surprise from the point of where a mother comes to her baby and says, you know, oh, cuckoo, and the baby laughs, or cries, or, you know, if the mother is ugly. But that's one side of it, that's surprise. And then you got shocking surprise, you know, D'Artagnan motherfuckers. That's a shocking surprise, right? And you got everything from that to shock to even horror, right? Because it's a very broad definition. And this is why very often comedians get into trouble, right? Oh my God, he said the N-word. Oh my God, he said something about hookers in Brasilia, right? Because people don't understand. In Brazil. People don't understand the idea that, you know, it's required some sort of understanding and intelligence, and you know, you can't take stuff out of context. So, you know, people talk about the line, you know, how you cross the line. I love this guy, Robin Williams. He's my idol. I love him in so many ways. And in one interview, this guy said that it was inside the actor's studio. He said, you know, normal people see a line and they say, oh my God, I'm not going to cross it. Jesus, there's a line there. Right? And the difference is, you know, when you're a comedian, you see that line and you go, wow! That's a comedian right there. You see the line and you jump through it, right? So that's what I'm going to actually try and make you do, is go a little bit out of your comfort zone. And this is what I did at the beginning. I got myself ready in a mental state to do what I'm supposed to do. At that point, I don't need those kind of extremes. But maybe some of you need them, because some of you maybe are having some limitations and are afraid to go that far, right? And the contrast, and of course the comparison is the principle I thought about. Now I want to talk about inception of humor, or how humor comes out of you, and all that. Now first of all, I mentioned this, intelligence, right? Well, I believe that humor and comedy is something that you acquire, not being born. I mean, I'm not talking about humor like, oh my God, I slipped on a banana, oh, this is sort of thing, right? I'm talking about something like an intelligent humor that requires some sort of analytical thinking and to create it and then to understand it, right? And that is so good because this means that you can improve, right? This means that everyone can be funny and get funnier, right? And the second thing I want to talk about is the inner journey. I want to be a little bit personal stuff, just tell you some personal stuff. I want to be honest with you and tell you this very interesting thing. You know, the third law of physics, you know, Sir Isaac Newton came up with, and he said, you know, every action has a equal and opposite reaction, right? So if comedy or if humor is the reaction, then the question is, what is the action causing it? And that's very interesting because it should be opposite, right? And it is. In my case, and many other cases, you know, back in the day, you know, a lot of you know me from like presentations and stuff or partying, but that's just part of me, right? That's not me. I'm a very introverted and closed person. I really am, and like I am for real. And this, I was that person, and I was very nerdy and dorky and stuff like that. So basically, when other guys would take girls out and all that shit, and I would feel really bad about it, I would go home and, you know, watch some porn. But what I would do then is I would have a plan. I would have a nerdy plan. I would say, okay, you know what? I'm the best student. I have the best grade. So if a girl comes up to me and says, okay, can you give me this homework? I'll say, yeah, sure. And then I'll crack a joke. And then she'll laugh, right? It's genius, right? And then I'm taking her to bed. You know, but it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. But you know, she laughs, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to continue doing this. And I keep doing this, it doesn't work. I keep doing this to an obsessive level where this becomes part of me. And now this is how I make friends. This is how, you know, people know me, all that shit. And it's really cool because then it gets outside. It gets from, you know, on personal level, I make you laugh, so I make rooms of people I don't know laugh, right? And this is really cool because it's helpful, like in situations like in business presentations and stuff like that. And I want to talk about principles and mindset. This is the thing that I did in the beginning. Now there are a couple of principles I believe in. They refer to business presentations, they refer to comedy, they refer to my life, and to a lot of people's lives. First thing is constant improvement. I believe, and I think everyone should know that, every time you do something, you get better at this. Every time I write a joke, I get better at writing jokes. I write it faster, I write more. Every time I say a joke that doesn't work, well, the next time it's going to work better. You got to believe this, and you got to go 100%. If you're not going 100%, just don't waste my time, don't waste your time, go home and, you know, what's important. So, you know, I'm going to repeat this because I love this joke. And then, you know, being memorable. And that's a principle, it's very important. You know, leave an impression on people. I want to meet people for 5 minutes and never see them again. And I want them to remember that interaction. I want them to remember it, you know, preferably in a good way, right? But I want to leave an impression, I want to leave a step in their lives. And this is what I do when I come in front of audiences, right? Confidence. Now, it's all about confidence. It's all about confidence. But the thing is, this confidence is not like your inner confidence. This is not the confidence that you have outside, as I said. Okay, so let's say that, let's say Miro is a confident person in life, right? He's like, oh my God, I'm half Asian, but you know the size of my penis is European, right? So, you know, let's say this. African. D'Artagnan motherfuckers. And then you go to the where he comes here and let's say he sucks. I mean, he doesn't suck, but let's say that he's not confident on stage as much as he's confident in live. Let's say we have an opposite thing, that we have Peshu here and who's like very shy and doesn't talk so much, and then he comes here and explodes. I mean, this is just a theory, but it's possible. It doesn't have to do anything with who you are, really. And the thing is that it's a psychological warfare, basically, here. I mean, I'm coming here with the idea that I'm going to make you laugh, okay, no matter what. Like, I don't know you guys, I don't know you, but I'm going to make you laugh. Man, I don't know what happened to your hair, did you lose a bet or something, I don't know, I'm going to make you laugh, right? I don't know who is this guy, is he like making a move on yours, is the third day, fifth day, I don't know, but I'm going to make you laugh. I'm just kidding. But that's like my mindset. I'm thinking, I'm going to be confident, I got to believe in this, and then, like, pretending that to be true, then it becomes true in time, when you actually see it work. Polarizing personality. Now, this is personally a thing that I didn't come up with. I saw this and I was blown away. I really want to repeat this. And now, this is the principle that, do you want to be liked by people, or do you want to be loved with the risk that someone might hate you, right? So this is, okay, I'm going to tell it this way. The biggest problem with people not being funny, and therefore being boring and making boring presentation, is the fact that everyone wants to be loved by everyone. I want to get on here and I want every one of you to like me, right? I want you to like me. So what that causes is I'm going super safe. Let's say that I know who's going to be here. So I know there's going to be, most of you are going to be guys, for instance. So I'm making jokes, a little bit more vulgar, but I know there's going to be 2 girls. So because of those 2 girls, I'm not going to say those jokes. They're going to make everyone laugh. Now this is bullshit, because first of all, those girls can laugh at those jokes. Second of all, this is a way of me limiting myself, and then at the end being boring, because yeah, people are going to like me. Yeah. And like in high school, people liked me. Every girl liked me in high school, man. You ask every girl, she's, oh my god, Bogi will like him, he's the funny guy. Bogi like, in high school I was a fucking virgin, okay? This is how I like me. So right now, some girls hate me. Oh, this asshole, I hate this guy, right? But some girls, man, they, you know, makes me blush when I think about it, you know, out there. I mean my penis. You know. And so this is what you're going to have to answer for yourself. Are you going to risk a couple of people, like, what is the worst thing that can happen? Like someone walking away of the room? So what? Then you have left to like 80% of the people, but those are the people that really care about you. And those are the people that really like what you're saying, so you're creating a connection. You're benefiting. Those are the guys that didn't want to listen anyway, right? So are you going to be a politician? And I'm not going to say yes, but I'm going to say no. But no. Are you going to be real? Are you going to be a man here and be a boss about it? Or are you going to be a little bitch? Okay? And exploration of risk is a thing that's very much in common with so I touched on that. And limiting beliefs, I want to talk about this. Now, limiting beliefs are all kinds of stupid excuses that you make for yourself. Stupid excuses not to go 100%. I'm not talking about, like, I'm a little bit drastic here. I mean, a little bit extreme. I may go do things that I'm not 100% sure I should do. I think, okay, someone might get offended. But normally, I'm not talking about, like, offending people and stuff like that. I'm talking about things that you want to do, that you feel like, oh my God, if I do this, it's probably going to work, and you don't do it because of limiting beliefs. You know, this is like, remember The Matrix? There was a scene in the first part, in the training, where Neo says, so what are you trying to say? One day I'll be like dodging bullets. And Morpheus says, no, Neo, I'm trying to say that one day you won't have to. Right? And this is, so Neo had limiting beliefs. He was in the Matrix. Right? He had limiting beliefs. He couldn't believe that he can go beyond that. And one of the reasons for limiting beliefs is fear. And I want you to think about fear as a driving force. The way I perceive fear right now is in 2 ways. There is a rational fear. It's like I'm driving the car in the middle of the night, let's turn off the light, right? That's a rational fear, I can die, I can fucking die. But there's an irrational fear, and that fear is, I say a joke and someone might not laugh. That's irrational, because nothing can happen. Nothing can happen, okay? And you gotta use that. For me, fear right now is a cue. I'm afraid of something, I know I should do that, okay? Because this way I progress. I know I gotta do this, and then I'm gonna see how I feel. If I still feel bad, I'm not gonna do it, right? But I've done it. So I've been there. And another thing is talent. Now, I love this limiting belief. People say, oh, I don't have talent, I can't do this. I don't have talent. Right? This is bullshit. Listen. Okay, people say, you know what? I can't play the guitar like Slash. Slash has talent. That motherfucker, he plays a chord like, he plays like a solo like crazy. And I'll tell you this. Slash started playing the guitar when he was 15. In all kinds of interviews, he has said that he's been playing at least for 12 hours a day. If you play as many years as Slash plays, for 12 hours a day, I guarantee you, you're going to play every single solo this guy plays. Okay? And this is, this is as much as I think about talent, right? I think talent is, the only thing that talent is how much you love to do something, right? Because this is how you measure talent. Talent is actually the fact that Slash loved to play so much that those hours didn't seem nothing to him. He didn't feel the pain in his fingers, right? This is talent. Of course, there are some exceptional cases, right? There's like Mozart who wrote a symphony in 8, right? So, but he didn't have time to prepare because maybe the first few years he was like learning to speak and walk, right? So, but those are extreme cases. But I'm going to ask you this. Okay, if this is an extreme case, then you get this Chinese prodigy that plays the piano at 3, and you have Slash. And tell me who has a bigger fortune, right? Tell me who makes better money. So think about that limiting belief when you think about how many people that have no talent are making millions. And what are you doing? You're, oh, I'm not going to do this, I don't have talent. I don't know, become a rapper then. I don't know. I'm going to talk about material. This is a thing that I've been asked a lot. Okay, everyone asks me, okay, how do you come up with material? What is the process? It's very difficult to say that because it's like answering a question like, hey, why are you crying at the notebook, right? It's an emotional journey. I can't really say how am I coming up with this. But I tried, and first of all, I'm going to tell you, this presentation I worked on a lot, and I'm working on doing this because I want to tell you stuff that basically you can, if I tell you stuff that you go back home and you Google it and find it out, my job here is nothing. It's just like scratching my balls. I want to do something that's personal, that comes from my experience. That having said, I'm going to give you all kinds of sources and examples of people that do that shit, and it works, right? So first thing I want to talk about is random jokes. Everyone has had this moment when you come up with a joke, maybe you're in a very comfortable situation, you're friends, and you say a joke and everyone starts laughing. This is a random joke. Now I had a lot of those jokes. Like, I remember this one time, I was coming back from a salsa lesson and they were playing this Michael Jackson song, Man in the Mirror, this song. And I was like on the subway, and I see this guy, he has like a bad case of acne, right? And for whatever reason, I remember this guy in high school, and it's weird what your brain does to you. I remember this guy in high school who had a real terrible acne, and he had like scars like on his forehead and everywhere. So I figured, you know what? This guy would be like the best impersonator of Michael Jackson, because he would do like the easiest moonwalk just with 2 fingers on his forehead, like. Right? This is a ridiculous thing. I started laughing at this in the middle of the subway. People were watching, they were like looking at me like I'm crazy. But those things, the problem with those things, oh yeah, last time I was with a buddy of mine, we were in a bus, and I see this lady, like she's on her phone, like an old lady, and someone's calling, and she can't see the contact ID. She's like doing like this, and for a really long time the phone's going. I'm like, and finally she answers. And so I'm thinking, imagine if the first thing she says after this, like for half an hour, is like, who is this? And I thought, this is ridiculous. And I started laughing. This is a random joke, right? You can't just like start taking the bus every day hoping that you're going to see stuff like that. But, however, in business presentations, there is a moment when you prepare for something like over-prepare, like this is something very difficult, and you read and you do this, it's in your mind to the point when you come back home and you dream about it, right? So then it is possible that something like this might pop up. But this is a thing that you can't like emulate. This is not the thing that you can try to make. But this is a thing that you can use. And this is a deductive method. Of course, as I say, those are terms that don't exist. I made them up. And this sounds pretty cool, but it doesn't exist. So it's a deduction. You know what it is. It's coming from the broad thing to centering on something small, right? And this is a method I use all the time. This is like 90% of my jokes are coming from this. It's very easy. You can apply it to every single presentation. That is, you think of the broad subject of the presentation you're doing, and everyone has a different process. For me, that's pretty much walking around the room and talking to myself for real. Like it has to be like no one else. I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Those are the girls I've been living with, and they know what I'm walking and talking like in the middle of the night, and they can hear like steps, and I'm talking to myself in English. It's just really ridiculous. And I'm thinking about a topic, and I come up with jokes after hours of looking for the principles, which were, you remember, surprise, contrast, comparison. I'm looking for things like that. For instance, I'm going to give you an example because this is like very broad. The last stand-up I did, I was thinking, okay, I might do a joke about school, because I haven't done it in a long time. Like one of the first jokes that I did was from high school, like about prom and dates and stuff. So I thought, no, it's boring, you know, everyone talks about this, but I'm gonna go like, maybe like a 6th, 7th grade. Like you got 13, 14-year-old kids. And what happens is, I'm thinking about this broad thing, I'm trying to set it up. So, okay, I went back home for Christmas, and I met some friends that I've been with in 7th grade, right? And I'm thinking, what happens at that age? Okay, what happens to guys? Their voice mutates, right? Their voice mutates. It's got to be something funny. So they sound like this, they sound, okay. I'm thinking. After a long time, I'm going, you know, they sound, I'm making noises all the time. And finally I get this, you know, the voices sound like this, and when they laugh, it sounds like orangutan. It sounds like orangutan is having an orgasm, right? And this is my first joke. It's a stupid one, but it's the first, and I write it down, I remember it mentally. Then I go, okay, what else happens? Okay, so contrast, right? Contrast. So they sound like an orangutan, they're having an orgasm. Then there's this one kid whose voice is still not mutated. This is the little Joe. He said, it sounds like this, right? And I'm thinking, there's got to be something funny there. Okay, at that age, a lot of guys have sex for the first time. It's like a big deal. Oh my God, if they had sex in 13, wow, man. So what if it's Joey, right? Is this an element of surprise, right? So he comes in, hey guys, you know what? You know what happened this summer? I had sex, guys. And then he's like, oh man, what happened? What happened? What happened? And he's like, well, you know what happened? I mean, I went to the girl, started playing with Nintendo, and she got a Coke, and things escalated, right? That's the second joke. It's out of nowhere. And then I'm going, okay, what else happens? Well, okay, if a guy has sex, some girls might have sex. If a girl has sex at 13, that's fucking, you know, someone goes to jail. If a guy has sex at 13, now, this guy's a national hero. They build him a fucking statue somewhere, he gets a free beer in every bar for the rest of his life. Okay, so the next thing, what else happens? You start shaving. Like, for the first time in your life, you start shaving. And you're like, what the fuck? So I remember the first time I started shaving, I would go to school the next day, I'm like this, I'm like this, look at me. Because if I don't do this, no one's going to notice. But I do like this, and then, about 2 weeks later, I put my first mustache on, right? I think, oh my God, I look like Chuck Norris, and in reality, I look like, you know, Justin Bieber had cappuccino. But, so you see, like, got at least 5 jokes, and that's just the deduction method. You're going from the top to the bottom. And then the second one is, the next one is a focus. Now, focus is, you take something very precise, and you come up with jokes from there. Now, an example of that is, I saw in the news, you can use it in business presentations too, because you can just get one topic, like one line, and try to find something in that line. I read that Lily Vanoy had the award for the Man of the Year. I'm like, oh my God, this must be pissed, right? But no, I thought, okay, there's got to be something funny in that shit. And I'm thinking, okay, and finally I come up with this. So a lot of guys must have been pissed at this, like really angry, but you know, I don't care, because you know, after that after so much time, you know, there's some changes that happen to a corpse that, you know, you don't see what kind of corpse it was. So that's what I come up. It's not a good one, but I'm going to give you an example. Yeah, okay. It not always hits, but I'm going to give you an example with something else where you can use the same, like you can use focus and deductive on the same thing and come up with different jokes. So I watched The Hobbit. I had a stand-up in January, and I watched The Hobbit, and I'm going, okay, I'm going to come up with the deductive method first. So I go about the whole movie, and I finally come up with this. There are 13 dwarfs in this movie. There are 3 wizards. There are hundreds of goblins, hundreds of orcs, and all kinds of shit. And there's one hobbit. The movie's called The Hobbit. Okay, so what's going to be next? They're going to make a movie about the Bulgarian or what? They're going to be, this is going to be a guy with bare feet and running in a jacket, right? And then I used the focus to come up with something else. And the focus was focusing on the fact that the movie was made in 48 frames per second. And I'm thinking, okay, there's got to be something there. Got it. When the movie comes up on the DVD, that movie has so many frames per second. When you watch the DVD and pause it, you watch a 3-minute clip. Right? And that's focus. That's focus. And you know, I'm being blinked here because I go very fast. You know, I have just a little bit of time left. Logic games. Now that's if you want to make one-liners. One-liners are very powerful. I respect people who come up with that shit because it's so much different from my stuff, and I just have a couple of them. Like, you know, a one-liner is a joke that's really short, and that's like, for instance, you know, speaking about differences between, you know, equality between sexes, right? That's a concept that's pretty much like Bulgarian rap music because it doesn't exist. Okay, this is a one-liner. Okay, and then another example where like, oh man, I watched this painting. Oh my God, it's a beautiful painting. This was so beautiful. It was like watching porn with Natalie Portman, right? This is a one-liner, and you can come up with those. When I was in London, and I was doing the clubs, and I met this guy who he was doing courses in stand-up, and he was teaching guys. And he said, you know what, we play this game, and it's very popular. when we put like 2 columns of words, totally random words, then we make like crosses, and of course those words could be random, but in a presentation you can take like words from the presentation, like keywords, and connect them, and think about a way of using them, like within a sentence, like what is the difference, or the similarity between this and this. Like for instance, I don't know, you take random, you take a chair and a woman, right? You say, what is the difference between a chair and a woman? Well, you know, if you sit on a chair, you're not getting a boner every time, right? So, I mean, this is something that just, you know, something that is an example. So, it's a game you can play, and you can play a lot of games like this. Okay, so I can talk about this for hours. I'm not going to. No, you can have it so much. There's so much examples about exercises and like shows like Whose Line Is It Anyway? All kinds of shows like that. When you have like games, like mental games, what I do is I walk down the street and I look at people and I'm thinking, what is this person thinking right now? And it's a very good game because it's working on your like observation skills. So I'm thinking, you're thinking, oh, don't pick me up. Oh shit, don't pick. No, you're not thinking. But you know, and you got my point. Like you look at a person. If you were with a friend and that friend is there, it's even funnier when you do this. And it not always hits, but it's a good improvisational game. And I'm going to talk quickly about improvisation. You can't rely on this shit. Forget it. It doesn't work every time. The only way you can work in improvisation when you're alone and there's no one there, there's no dynamic, it's just you and the audience, the only way it works is if you have solid material like a motherfucker, you have a confidence level that's beyond comparison, and you have a lot of experience. Then sometimes you get a pop up, you know, remember, like Ellie was in our faculty, we were doing a thing about set, and I was like telling him what the set was, and I was like trying to be really serious. And at the end, this one guy, this nerdy guy, asked the question. Remember this? And this guy asked the question. It was like, oh, okay, so what is the most important thing you got out of the SET program? And I said, I lost my virginity. If everyone started laughing, it was like everyone's laughing, and for like really long time. And this is improvisation, but you can't rely on this. This happens sometimes. It is you got to use the principle of taking a risk, all that stuff. Like say the first thing that comes in your mind. But still, you can't rely on this. You gotta do the quantity management thing, which means when you come up with jokes, try to make it as short as possible. I don't like people who set them up too much. Like, you know, Chris Rock would set them up, he'd have this preacher style, where he would go and he'll make sure that you get every single word before you get to the punchline. This is very cool, but only if you're entirely like believing that this is going to hit, but you can't always be sure about it, right? So you can set it up. My advice is make them as short as possible, arrange them in a way that you start with a very powerful one, then you kind of go down, and then you make this move up to the very end where you explode. Now, the other thing is introductions and extenders. And I'm going to give just examples, because I'm not going to explain about it. Obviously, you have to introduce the joke somehow, and you can extend it. Now, extending it is basically waiting for the people to get the point. It's just, sometimes it's just being quiet. This is the #1 biggest mistake I was doing in the beginning, because I was so confident that I would say a joke and not wait for the people to laugh at all. And people are not going to laugh, because people are like, oh, wait a second, I'm not going to laugh at this. I'm going to like, hold on, I don't know this guy, so I'm going to like wait first and play cool. If he's cool with that, if he's like cool to the point where he continues doing this for a while and I get confident with the guy, then I'm going to start laughing, right? So I was never waiting for the guys to laugh. And this was very unconfident, so I would go faster and faster and faster and faster, and they wouldn't even hear the jokes. So I'm going to give you an example with extenders, and you could do with extenders anything from just laughing or standing or just doing like, you know, Letterman does this thing when it goes like this, and looks at Paul or someone in the band, or Don Rickles would say like, anyway, and would look around. Anything you do, or you start laughing at it. Laughing is a very powerful one. But you don't go too much. You don't laugh at every joke because it's like, it's inconfident for me, you know? Because you're breaking character and you're the confident guy. So you're not laughing all the time. Okay, fuck the example. But strategies, I want to tell you 2 strategies. First of all, do you write the material down? Do you write the jokes down? I'm going to tell you the pros and cons. I never write material down. I know like Robin Williams doesn't write, Chris Rock doesn't write. What they do is they write just topics. They write topics, they like write lines. Other comedians, Dave Chappelle writes, George Carlin, you know, the father of stand-up, whatever, he writes everything, every single word. My advice is write. Try writing, try not writing, see what works. But write at the beginning, because you can see everything. You can time it, you can see how long it is, you can change some words, make like an NLP move, like, oh, I'm going to use this word instead of this. Whatever you do, you write it down, you see it, you can measure it, then it's an advice that Louis C.K. says. I'm trying not to tell jokes that are good because I'm a good comedian. I'm trying to tell jokes that when you look at in the paper, they're funny. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. So write them down first, be sure that those jokes are hidden, and then try not writing. I'm not writing personally because I find that this is limiting myself. First of all, I waste time on writing this thing. Then I gotta think about, I see this piece of paper in my mind. If I lose something, I lose track. Otherwise, obviously you're gonna lose some stuff. Obviously you're not gonna say everything. But that's the point, there's a flow, there's a natural flow. And I like this bubble that I create. Every time it's different. Because sometimes I forget something, sometimes I create something new in the spot. So that's why I'm not writing. But try writing, try not writing, see what's working. And the other thing I'm gonna tell you, a lot of strategies, always try, every single time, try to come up with something new. Even if like no one in the audience has ever heard the previous joke, try something new just for the point of working on creating material. Sometimes it's going to be really easy, like a topic that you love, that you think about all the time. Sometimes, there's a topic that's super boring. And still, try to do that thing where every time you come up with at least one or a couple of new jokes. Styles and characters, really fast. Cocky guy, right, of course, if you have confidence. Most of the black comedians are the cocky guy. This is a very popular character. Social awkward nerdy person. Now that's a very new character. So not exactly new. I mean, we had like Andy Kaufman and guys like that in the past. But nowadays, because first of all, the cocky guy was so prevalent, it was so popular, and like the golden era of stand-up, guys were so confident. Then you would have like Sam Kinison yelling at people, and this got boring. So all of a sudden you see like early Zach Galifianakis and Demetrius Martin, and you see Mitch Hedberg, they just go and they don't look at your eyes and they just say something. And they say the jokes, they're just about, as bad as Sam Kinison would say. But the element of surprise, you wouldn't expect this guy to be that confident and be so funny, right? So this is a character you could use, and this hits very hard. If you watch like the best TED Talks, you can see some nerds there like out of space, and they're super funny. And this is a character that you assume. It's not who you are. This is what kind of vibe you're giving to people. It's very positive too. The best friend, now, I don't like this one. And this comes, it's a modern kind of style. It came where people started getting too dirty. It got boring because in the past, there were so many limitations and people they always tried to make vulgar jokes because it was so cool, because you can't hear this on TV or anything. But after time, it got boring, so now people are trying to be super PC. But this is a limitation, so that's why I don't like this character. Of course, you can try to be this guy. I'm going to say a joke about, this fairy tale and, well, whatever. If you like this, do this. I mean, but don't limit yourself with some sort of restriction on the material. The angry type, you got, Louis Black, and you got Dennis Leary, yeah, and all kinds of guys like this. This is a real, the guy's like, I hate this, I hate love, I hate this. It's a cool one, and it's very interesting if you apply this to the business presentation. It's super, unexpected. You can see a lot of cocky guys or a lot of nerdy guys, but if you do the angry type, that's a killer. And I hate this, nuclear power, fuck IS-Ben, fuck this shit. This is going to be a killer. If I see this, I'm going to like it on YouTube. So this is what I want to say. Of course, comedy, modern comedians use a mixture of types. There are all kinds of types that I didn't mention, you got, fuck that. There's so many types that you can make your own type, but those are the basic types. Now, this is an important part I want to talk about. As much as you prepare for the comedy material that is in the verbal part of the presentation, you should put as much effort in the presentation itself. Now, as you can see by presentation, I hate presentations. Presentations are a distraction from me. I'm the medium that's telling you stuff. I don't want you to look here. I don't want you, but I'm doing this purposely because most of the times you have to do it, or you're supposed to do it, so you do it. I'm going to give you just a couple examples to show you that the presentation could be fun too, and it could help you out in a way. Now, first of all, I want to talk about multidimensionality. So as you can see on this graph here, there's this discrepancy between what you're... Okay, so obviously, there's a technical issue here. I'm sorry. I don't know, but it's kind of awkward. Okay, someone working with the computers. Okay, I don't know. That's not me. Obviously, that's not me. Okay, that's not. So now what I showed you, I actually did this, not with the exact same photo, but I did this on a presentation that was very boring back in the day. And it was so boring that everyone was saying this. The teacher, the lecturer didn't listen to this. And I was like, I want to be memorable, right? This is my principle. So I'm going to make those people listen, and this is what I did. Obviously, you're not supposed to use embarrassing pictures if you don't want to. It works really well when you're doing stuff that are left unsaid, but people think about it, and you know it. Especially in very conversations that are, you know, like different opinions. So you talk about something, and all of a sudden, boom, it's the opposite thing, right? Because, you know, the pink elephant, people are going to think about this. And if you look, oh my God, I know you're thinking about this, so let me talk about this. This is a very interesting move. Now, another thing I used, I'm going to give you a couple examples from a real presentation I did not so long ago. Now, this thing was a very interesting thing. I did a presentation on leadership. And, yeah, you know, presentation on leadership. And first of all, the assistant said, there was a guy before me, and the assistant said, first of all, two mistakes. I didn't see your name there, and I see a graph in the presentation. Where's your name, where's the graph? So I get there, and I say, okay, that's my name. That's a graph. Okay, can we go on now? And everyone started laughing. And this was like the beginning for it. It's a very, very short one, you see? So if you're making like, yeah, guys, that's an inside joke. So yeah, if you see like a 10-minute presentation and you make 1 minute for jokes, you can make a 10-slide presentation when make one funny slide, right? Or make 3 or 4 slides that just contain something funny. Another thing I did on the same presentation was, I was thinking about, you know, how historically, I always want to go back, right? How historically, you know, leadership got started. And so I read a lot, and then I said, oh my God, I'm not going to memorize all those years and all this shit. So what I did was, okay, I'm going to talk about how historically, you know, everything happened with leadership. So a couple of billion years ago, we got this Big Bang. And then we got dinosaurs, you know, like T-Rex and Big Jagger, stuff like this. And then we got leadership, right? And I talk about this, people laugh, and it's cool. And then I say, then I read something on Wikipedia about those monkeys. They're called the bonobo monkeys, and they live in Africa. And this family of monkeys, they're like this unique kind of monkeys that they elect sometimes a female leader of the group, not only a male leader of the group, which is very, very interesting. So I figured, well, it's not only us that make this mistake, right? So I'm thinking, I actually spoke about this for like 5 minutes. I was speaking about some monkeys, and nothing funny. I was like mentioning who, like a German zoologist in the 30s, he went to Africa and found the monkeys. It was ridiculous, but it wasn't funny, but it was funny as a whole, right? Because it was something unexpected, again, the element of surprise. And then another thing is, first of all, I hate questions, interrupting my flow of thought. At the end, okay, ask whatever. But obviously sometimes people ask questions, and that's why I wanted to, a good way of tackling like things that you don't like is actually being there one step ahead and addressing that. So I said at the very beginning, I said, okay, if anyone has questions, it's natural. I mean, during the presentation someone comes with a question, and you know, don't worry about this, just take a piece of paper, write them down, then send them on this, to this email address. I'm going to answer up to 2 weeks. And now that's an interesting like inside joke, because we were playing at the university, we were playing this marketing game, and the website was called As Marketing, right? So me and my man, we were like on a team, so I was like, let's send those to As Marketing winners, right? Which is, you know, a slap in the face for everyone else. And so, you know, this is a thing. Now, another thing is multidimensionality of the presentation, and I want to show you something I used to do in high school. Now, back in high school, I would like bring stuff like days in advance. I would bring the CD player, I'll put it somewhere, and then give a remote to someone. And he would basically go, and sometimes I talk, and there was music, and all of a sudden I'll say something, and I'll go like this, man, it was fucking good. Or I'll say something, and then all of a sudden they would hear this. Why is this important? Because people remember not only what they see, what they hear. People remember all kinds of experiences. When you touch someone, when you do something, it's a multi-dimensional experience. The more dimensions you add to it, the more memorable it becomes. Chronology now. This is something I love to talk about just for a second, for like 3 minutes. No, what I want to say here is normally people think as the presentation goes more and more boring, people get less serious. They tend to become more funny. That's completely wrong. So now, what I believe is, you gotta start with something like I did at the beginning. Really ridiculous, super crazy stuff, because no one's gonna tell you anything in the beginning, right? Even if there's like a teacher there or someone who's like, what is going on here? No one's gonna say that in the beginning. Like, if you do the presentation like really seriously and do the serious stuff, and then you get boring and you start, okay, I'm gonna make something funny now, and then, okay, that's enough, we go now. But if you do that in the beginning, you're setting them up. You're telling them, listen, this presentation is gonna be funny. And now I'm giving you time to understand this, so by the time of the presentation, before I get you hooked up with the presentation itself, at the beginning, I'm going to put like my best jokes. And now those jokes you're going to have to sacrifice. Sometimes people won't laugh at those jokes at the beginning because they're not there. There's a level of confidence that's required for them to understand that. And once you do this at the beginning, then you do joke after joke for some time because people are waiting for it. They're like, okay, where's the next joke? Okay, and then you give them something, and okay. But in the meantime, they're actually listening to the presentation, and they get hooked up with the message you want to send them. And at the end, you don't need so many jokes. At the end, there are less and less. And if you start it up really nice, at the very end, you can explode. You can do whatever you want. When you say, okay, I'm going to end now. But before I do, and then they like, okay, come on, show me the best, right? So you can do it only if you start with the best at the beginning. Role-playing is something, if you're doing a presentation with people, and very often you have to do a presentation with people. I'm done. It's not funny, but hey, thanks. But I'm that good. I'm that good. But the point is, when you're doing a presentation with people, I've tried all kinds of stuff. Because I always say, you know, I'm going to make jokes. I want to make people laugh. So the person said, oh, you know what? Write me a joke, right? Write a joke for me. I'm like, okay, I'm cool for that. I write a joke for someone. That shit doesn't work because I write them for my character, for my type of guy. I'm the confident guy, right? Now, you know, whatever I am, this is how I assume it, right? But that other person just doesn't say it with the same level of energy, doesn't work. The second thing I've done, okay, write your own jokes. That person writes the jokes, it's not there because there's a difference in levels of energy, whatever. And the third thing I discovered after a lot of efforts is that probably the best thing is making a compromise and doing a role-play thing. So I'm going to be the funny guy, and I'm going to be extra funny, and you're going to be the smart guy. You're going to be telling the real important stuff, I'm going to be the funny guy. Now, this is a thing that people are afraid of because, oh my God, I don't want them to think I'm a jerk. I actually worked on this presentation. Not only him, I did something. Don't underestimate the audience. People are going to understand that you're just making a sacrifice for the team. They're going to appreciate the fact that you're doing this, and they're going to assume you're a team and you're a very good team player, right? And they're not going to judge you for being the funny guy when someone else is being, you know, extra like intelligent and doing the serious stuff. Audience, really quickly, research. If you can find out what kind of people are going to be honest, obviously it's a great hit. You just try them, think what kinds of stuff they like, and things like this. It's pretty obvious. Types of members, you got the nerdy fan. This guy that, oh my God, I love this presentation. I have so much knowledge about this presentation. I prepared, I brought this book, I'm going to ask him this question, this question. You know, I hate this guy. He's going to usually interrupt you, or he's going to ask like 1,000 questions at the end of it. Now, the challenger is very much like this, except the challenger is a type that comes up when you're extra confident or you're extra funny. So the challenger's like, oh, hell, hold on. I'm the alpha in this group, right? So, you know, I'm funnier than you, and I'm going to say something. So this guy's going to heckle you, right? This guy's going to try to say something to embarrass you, whatever. And a thing about this, don't be afraid to challenge the challenger. Don't be afraid to fuck with this guy. If let's say, I don't know, if this guy tells you something, if Pesha is the challenger, you know, if he tells us something, I mean, if he interrupts something, you can even prepare for the challenge. Just before it, doesn't matter what he says. I can go, Pesha, do you know this band, Maroon 5? Yeah. Yeah, so you know, Maroon 5 in 2007, they released this super platinum-like record, and the second song in this record was called Makes Me Wonder. And this song, you can hear them sing, it really makes me wonder if I ever gave a fuck about you. Okay? And the more serious you are, I mean, I don't even want you to get it, the more serious you are here, the more funny it is, because people don't expect me to actually say fuck you to Pesha, right? Especially if I don't know him. I'm not going to be like, hey, fuck you, man, right? And that's why it's funny. And you can do anything that's out of the box, which is like challenging this person, and then you're so cool, right? You know, it's like, hey man, what do you do? Where do you live? I don't give a fuck, shut up. You know, whatever you're doing. This is a cool thing. Now this is important. You've got to observe the audience and find out the receptive introvert. Why introvert? Because the introvert is not going to raise his hand all the time, but he's receptive. This is a person listening and smiling. And this is a person that you can actually ask questions. If you don't like questions, like I don't, I can ask someone a question. I don't want to wait for, like, can someone tell me something? No, I'm going to ask a person. I'm going to say, hey, you tell me this, right? What do you think? Because, like, I think she's receptive for it. I've seen her listen carefully and not interrupt, be very, like, respectful. That's why I ask her. Questions and confrontations. And you got to go lead the social thing. I talked about the multidimensionality. Whatever you do, fucking challenge yourself to do something. Like, you can go here and say, hey, man, come on. like, get up, I don't know you, get up. This is a person I don't know. So listen, I have this energy, feeling about you, and I don't, it doesn't matter what you say. Oh, okay, listen, you lost someone, okay? You lost someone, and it's someone close, and you lost your girlfriend. Hold on, come here. You lost your girlfriend, and there's a lot of negative energy here. You haven't been laid in a long time. Listen, Jesus loves you. Baby Jesus loves you. Sit down right here. And then you go someone like, you guys, get up. Both of you guys, get up. Now, hold her hands and look into her eyes. Hold her hands, look into her eyes. Listen, people, this marriage is going nowhere. I don't know what's going on here. Seriously, now she's dressed. Look, she's beautiful. Look, this is like a Dolce & Gabbana birthday party cooker. Look at you. What the fuck is this? What the fuck did this had a garage sale or what? I don't get this shit. This is, you know, you're together on a convenience. This is ridiculous. But you get up. Listen, baby. We've had this. Open your mouth. Yes. I can do anything with this guy. Okay, turn around. But listen, man. So, I like you, man. You've been coming to this hospital for a long time. Me and where's Daddy? I gotta tell you this, man. You got 2 weeks alive, man. When you called your mother, we did a Facebook event for your funeral. Half of the people said they're going to come, but I'm going to write some personal messages so they can come. So we can do anything like this. I can take people and do stuff to them. It doesn't even matter that I scared the dog. Be the man that leads the crowd. You know, do stuff that are multidimensional and all kinds of interesting stuff that are going to be memorized and people are going to remember that shit. And I want to end this up by, we're going to take this, something that I do. It was supposed to be like a surprise, but since the room was like used until 7, I couldn't hide my guitar. And so usually something that I do is, because again it's very unexpected and people don't expect me to do this. Yeah, it was the time. Just in case I left something unsaid. And I would take my guitar and like play a song or something. I'm not the best player, but it doesn't matter. I mean, that's the thing. When you have a guitar, it doesn't matter. Even if you go, people are going to say, you're either genius or, you know, that's probably the latest Norah Jones record. Oh, okay, but that's the thing. You know, I actually started counting like how many songs have I written for presentations for like the past, I don't know, 4 years. At the University of maybe like 7 or 8 songs, like original songs for different presentations. They suck ass. Don't look like it. They suck. I don't remember how. Like I remember some of them. There was a song about multinational corporations that went something like. Multinational corporate. I don't remember the lyrics, but there was like you know, words and all kinds of stuff to that. There was a song. Oh yeah, that's a song that wasn't released. I was supposed to make this for a presentation about leasing, and I didn't do it because I didn't have time to prepare. It was about something like, if you come back home and you find like a piece of paper under my bed and there's no sperm on it, this is the song. So you can release it, and it works so good. And this song is, it's a song about me. I said, where have you been? It doesn't matter what you say. It's a song about Lizzie. Oh, it's a country song about Lizzie. It doesn't matter. I don't remember the lyrics. I did the song. Oh yeah, I did it for the leadership presentation. I did this song. It was like. It went something like. It's a song about a leadership. It doesn't matter what it is, but you know, they had like verses and stuff, and it makes sense. It was coherent, so I didn't. But the thing is, so I write a song for most of the presentations, and yeah. So even if I have to like sing a song right now, it doesn't matter what it is. So it's gonna be something like. The lyrics don't matter in this song. Yeah, I made this just in case something went wrong. Oh, that's right, you heard me well. It's just a backup plan. But you know, as long as it rhymes, people gonna understand. Oh, I don't even need to sing. I can even talk. And like real low. You know, it's just girls like that. That's the ones that you call, you know. It's just a backup plan. It's just a backup plan. Yeah. It's just a backup plan. It's just a backup plan. Cause I'm a funny man. It doesn't matter what I'm singing, right? It's this song. I actually, I wrote like literally yesterday because I changed my mind. I wanted to make this presentation in English, and I had to write this song. And I used to have this joke about this too, because I would say, you know what? I wrote this song yesterday. I'm not saying this because I'm genius. I'm saying this because it's really gonna sound. And so it doesn't matter what you do, and you know, if I do all kinds of stuff too. Like on one show, I used to do this thing which I saw Jamie Foxx do, and I was like, this is too good to be true. I gotta steal this from him. And he would do like impersonations of other musicians while he was doing the song. So I would be like, okay, what if this song was actually sung by the king himself, Elvis Presley, and it would be like, it's just a backup plan, it's just a backup plan. Yeah, thank you very much. Or I don't know, what if it was sung by Nika, right? He would sing like, it's just a backup plan. What happened to China? You can do anything to that song. You can, like, if you feel like you want to do this solo, and that's the thing. Like, about a solo, and a lot of guys are afraid of it, but you know, especially when you're alone. But the thing is, you gotta have the mindset, and you gotta think about the most important thing in a solo, guitar solo. That's the facial expression of the guitarist that makes the solo. And when you do this, just have in mind, like, imagine at this point when you're playing a solo, you're having sex with the ugliest woman ever, man. Fuck I've ever had. But anyway, so you can do it. A thing that you know, I'm a big fan of John Mayer, and I saw him do something on a concert. It was a real rare recording. I saw him do this thing where, you know, John Mayer, you know, this guy does, you know, this guy. So I'm a big fan of his, and he was doing this like a slow blues session. He was like soloing like. Like a really cool, like, slow blues, and he would say that. And the thing about him is he's a big player, you gotta know this. The type of girls this guy goes out with, and you know, and he says, so I went to this club, right? And man, I saw this girl, and I went to her and I said, and she answered. You know, kids don't have a conversation like that, you know, like, man, this is genius, so I gotta take this to like a whole other level. So I took this and I was like, I had a whole bit about this, but I don't remember it. And anyway, I was doing something like, you know, so I went to this party one day and I opened the door. Because this is the sound that, you know, every door is. And then I saw this girl and I was like, super attractive. I mean, she was beautiful, man. The moment I saw her, I was like, whoa, hold on, hold your horses. So I go to her and I say, you know, I would try to be funny, and I say something like, you know, something like this, and she was laughing about it. And I'm thinking, okay, this is going well, right? But then all of a sudden she says, you know what, I'm here with my friends. And I'm like, oh fuck, now I feel like I'm trapped. I can get out of here. I'm like, you know, whatever. I might just get her phone and get out of here. So I had this whole thing about it. Anyway, you get my point. And I'm working right now on something that it's not 100% ready, so it may suck a lot. I'm working on this because I have a show like the end of the month. So if I want to, like, because because I've been breaking down stuff for you and explaining to you. But I want to show you like what is the process of actually, if I was on stage. So I'm going to do this as close as it could get to like me, like really being on a stage, okay? So it started all with a joke. And that joke is, okay, imagine I'm on stage, right? I'm doing a stand-up. Okay, so my relationship advice for you guys is this. Don't you ever date girls that like Rihanna songs, okay? Like, you know, the type of girls that you see this girl for the first time, and you're like, oh man, what the fuck is wrong with this girl? It's the 21st century, what is going on? But then everyone starts talking about them, you know, your friends can't shut up about them. And then one day you just wake up in the shower and it's like, you shine bright like a diamond. You just can't get it out of your mind. Shine bright like a diamond. And then I'm thinking, okay, I'm going to tell you why I don't want you to date girls like that. Because of something that actually happened to me. And it's too hard for me to talk about it. But, okay, I'm going to say it in lyrics of Rihanna songs. Okay? So just listen to it for the lyrics. You understand what the story is. Okay. I've been everywhere, man, looking for someone who can please me, love me all my love. I've been everywhere, man, looking for someone, babe, really any babe. I was just really any babe. It's getting late, and I'm making my way over to my favorite place. I gotta get my body started, stress the stress away. I was looking for nobody when she looked my way. I'm probably getting late, yeah. She's been a crazy top disco diva, and you wonder who's that chick? Who's that chick? Too hard for you to keep, but she was sweating, and I see her shine bright like a diamond. 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 We shine together, told her I'll be here forever. Said I'll always be a friend. Now I'm thinking up first. I said, hey babe, heard you good with them soft lips. She ain't no word of mouth. Script was 69's 8 something right. So I was trying to break it out now. And then she said, I'm like, boy, can you get it up? Can you get it up? Is it big enough? Take it, baby. Then she said, take it out. And then she put her hand around my waist. But I told her no. And she said, take it out. I said, maybe this is sort of gay. But she wanted to go, and we were just a chance. Nose to nose. Bone to bone, we're just that close. Wrist to wrist, camel toe. Lips that felt just like inside of a hole. And she said, making me feel like I'm the only girl in the world. Like I'm the only one that you ever will. Like I'm the only one who knows your heart. And I don't give a fuck this. Right? Okay, anyway. I'm pouring hard, I'm falling for you, but there's nothing wrong with that. We fall love in a hopeless place. We fall love in a hopeless place. Yellow diamonds in the night. We were dating for some time. Now, we were dating for some time. But she wasn't only mine. And I heard her talk to her best friend. spun me around, and my heart's dead. I was so empty and hollow. I just shut up and drive, drive, drive. Shut up and drive, 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 drive. How much it hurt was that I know, that you were staring waiting for. My brain was ready to explode. You got me started, watch me go, 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 go. What started as a simple altercation, then turned into a really sticky situation. Now you think about the time that I'm facing this. Somebody's hurt, and he put out his stick with